I do think it's fair to at least throw out the suggestion, hey, your rights fee doubled from 550 to 1.1. Could we go from 50 to 100K? The other breaking news, if you will, since the last time we spoke, was that Contender Series, the first installment of this new season, has come and gone. Not much to write home about. Dana's post-event interview with Laura Sanko actually made me laugh out loud, like how ridiculous the whole thing was, how upset he was with the whole thing. It was very, very funny. Go out there and find it. It's been posted everywhere. Like he was just the shot of him shitting on guys and like literally crushing their dreams. The two shot with the other guy just sitting there like a kid who has been sent to the principal's office and is told that he's being expelled and now we're going to call your parents is just an all-timer. Like,
and they're like trying to hold it together.
Yes.
Like they're sitting there staring at the camera and they're like, oh shit, like I am not getting this contract.
And I'm getting like browbeaten here.
Well, then the production accidentally showed the hunter, the dude that he loved so much.
Yeah.
They showed him and he was like, no, skip him.
Yeah.
Skip him. I was like, oh, is he going to shit on him too? He had the best performance by far.
Yes, so
and
good.
then, of course, it's the glowing review. It's the B. Joe Pfeiffer moment.
Yes.
But obviously, it doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well.
The big news, though, is post-event press conference. He finally gets to meet the MMA media. He's been doing the rounds. He's been on all the shows, all the programs, a lot of softball stuff. No hate. I don't expect hard-hitting questions when he's on CBS This Morning or any of the other shows. Like he's celebrating the big news, the big deal, the Paramount deal, which we've been talking about for the past 2 days. That's all well and good. But credit, I think, to the MMA media in attendance in that room because I think they asked him some good questions, some pertinent questions. Did he give us all the answers that we had been pondering? No, but we did get some clarity on some hot topics. Number one, he was asked about fighter pay and whether or not, as a result of the rights fee here in the United States going from about $550 a year from ESPN to $1.1 billion a year, $7.7 billion over 7 years, does that mean fighter pay is going to go up as well? One would think, right? Here's what he had to say.
Okay, and then the fighter pay stuff. Obviously, that's going to go up and the fighters are going to get money. Do you guys look at that as a case-by-case contractual basis with each fighter? Or do
What's the question?
I'm getting there. Do you look at it case-by-case with each fighter, or do you go, right, we're going to up...
What was the first part of the question?
Fighter pay.
Fighter pay,
Yeah. So do you look at it as like case-by-case on each fighter, or do you go, right, we're just going to up the base pay and maybe up the bonuses? How do you sort of figure out the fighter pay rising?
Yeah. These are. Listen, I'm not going to have any comments on that yet because we still got to get together and figure this stuff out. It's August. We have till January to figure all that stuff. But the low-hanging fruit that's easy to answer, bonuses are obviously going up. So, that'll be big. And forget about the tide rising with all the other fighters. I mean, just the number that the bonuses bring to a fighter is, that's millions of dollars.
Okay, so credit to Oscar Willis of the Mac Life. Great question. He does confirm that the bonuses are going up. He does not say by how much. So I guess technically if they go from 50 to 55, they've gone up. Now, I know it doesn't necessarily work this way, guys, but I do think it's fair to at least throw out the suggestion, hey, your rights fee doubled from 550 to 1.1. Could we go from 50 to 100K? What do we think this is? Do we think it's 75? Do we think it's 60, 55, 100K? What are we thinking?
I don't know what it is, but the good news is that we'll find out because they make it public. So like come 2026, we'll know,
Sure.
100K. 100K sounds pretty nice. Nice rounded number. We've been doing 50K for however long. It was 60K at one point, right? And then back down to 50K.
Yeah.
Put it at 100K. Nice round number. Sounds good. Let's
we
do
could certainly
100K.
afford it.
Yeah, I
don't think
say
it's
100K.
I don't think that's good enough. Like, honestly, if it's just like bonuses, they're going to get extra money in the bonus. And look, he did say this is going to be worked out and stuff like that. But the entry level pay, I feel, is the most glaring problem people have with the UFC contracts. And you'd love to see that going up. Like I think it's 12 and 12 now. Most guys are coming in on that. So I think that's got to raise. Like, you got to remember, for the most part, I know recently it's changed with Contender Series. Prospects are getting rushed into those situations a lot quicker than they used to. But up until about 5 years ago, people were spending 10 years trying to get to the UFC, at least probably. And then they'd get there, and then your first check is usually 12 and 12. I think that's what I want to see going up. And I'd love to see that doubled. Like this is, as you say, like we're going from 550 million per year to 1.1 billion. The fighter pay, the revenue split is already so low. I think, and obviously there's issues for the pay-per-view boys and things like that, as you were talking with Tom Aspinall about, and champions will have that problem. But I think that the main thing is looking after the lowest paid guys. That's what I'd like to see big improvements in.
Sure. And, we focus on the 1.1. That doesn't account for the gates. That doesn't account for the site fees. That doesn't account for the broadcast deals that they have in the UK. Although, it's really, it's so much more than 1.1 what they're making, right, a year. So they can surely afford all of this. Here's the thing. I don't think it will double. I don't think the base pay will double. There's a lot of things that I would like to see. I'd like the entry level pay to go up. But if I'm being 100% honest, compared to say like an entry level boxer, it's actually not that bad. It's the mid tier guys and it's the top level guys who I actually don't think get what they are owed. It's the guys who are on the cusp of being contenders, and then it's the contenders, and then it's the champions. I don't think that you get a lot of pushback from the entry level guys, because the discrepancy between that 12 and 12 or the 10 and 10 and the regional scene is actually quite large. But I certainly would love to see that go up. I would love to see the removal of the show win model. I don't think it's going to go away, but I would love to see that just go away for good and everyone just has split the difference. And maybe some guys wouldn't like that. This is just me talking. I think they are owed the luxury of knowing how much they're going to make by the time they step foot in that cage, win or lose. And then there's the bonus, which is the huge upside. So I would love to see that go up. And I'm fascinated to know how they're going to address the pay-per-view points. I'm fascinated to know. In a lot of these interviews, he was also on Part of My Take. He's talking about how this is going to be great for the fighters. He has yet to give us concrete details, and I'm not demanding it right now. I don't expect, if their story is true, guys, if their story is true, this deal got done 5 days ago. If their story is true, the deal to put together, the whole kit and caboodle to Paramount, as opposed to just 30 shows and the 13 pay-per-views elsewhere, came together in the span of Thursday to Saturday. Because that's what they said, right? 48 hours after the deal went through. And so I'm not expecting him to come down and give us a whole PowerPoint presentation, but I hope and pray that by the time January 1st rolls around, everyone is aware of where they stand, they know what they're getting, and that they get their piece of the pie. They're never going to get 50%. As long as there's no Fighters Association union, they're not getting that 50%. But I do hope, as he said, rising tide, I hope that they're going to get some greater piece of the pie as a result of this deal. Now, he was asked further questions about the deal, including pay-per-view, the future of pay-per-view. He continues to talk about this as well. Here's what Dana had to say.
The decision to largely shy away from pay-per-view, I know you said it may still be on the table, but stay over. I mean, how difficult of a decision was that to make?
It's not that it's on the table. I mean, the whole thing started going out, pay-per-view's dead. Pay-per-view's not dead. We're on pay-per-view on Saturday.
Okay, can we pause right there? The pay-per-view is dead sentiment came from Mark Shapiro. Mark Shapiro is the one who said, it's antiquated, it's old, it's only DirecTV movies and boxing that are on pay-per-view, which is kind of funny because they're now in the boxing business. But he was sort of brandishing boxing with like this, like it's an old thing brush, if you get what I'm saying, which is the opposite of what he does when he talks about Zuffa boxing. In any event, they're the ones that put that sentiment out, and I and others said immediately, isn't it weird to say that when you have 5 more pay-per-views left to sell in 2025? So he's trying to walk some of that back. But let's be very clear about this. It wasn't the media or anyone else that was saying, hey, pay-per-view is dead. You guys said pay-per-view is dead. And then you tried to course correct. We continue.
And the pay-per-view business is still very much alive and well. But, we were talking about potential pay-per-view with other streaming partners that we were talking to in the deal, but just not in this one. And who knows what could happen. The beautiful thing about this business is every year something happens that I don't see coming. A fight that you never thought would happen, or who knows? I mean, now, we're doing boxing and we're doing MMA. Who knows what could happen, and anything could be a pay-per-view. Something could be a pay-per-view still.
Does this require massive restructuring of fighter pay? I mean, they used to be pay-per-view partners with you, right? Now what's
if we could pause right there, and that's the voice of John Morgan, who I believe works for the UG, formerly MMA Junkie, does a fine job. Dana is leaving the door open. He's saying, who knows, who knows, who knows? But worth noting, he was asked point blank on the Part of My Take podcast, which was posted today by PFT, one of the characters on the show. Does that mean, I got the exact quote here. The exact quote is, stand by. PFT asked, there's going to be no pay-per-views on this deal until the deal expires, which would be end of 2033. Dana says, right. And so I think all of this, hey, who knows, is just a way to not really piss off ESPN and end that relationship poorly. Because I can imagine if I'm ESPN listening to this, like, hey guys, why are you telling people pay-per-views dead when we're trying to sell 5 more pay-per-views and we're the ones benefiting from this? Like, we bought the pay-per-views and now you're telling everyone pay-per-views dead. No skin off your back. We get it. But like, that's not really being a good partner. And so I think what he's trying to do is course correct in that regard. But he says point blank to PFT in the PMT podcast, no pay-per-views in the next 7 years. So all this will go away. It's just been, as the kids like to say, hella confusing because they keep changing the messaging. We continue.
Encouragement to be the superstar.
It's not massive restructuring. We got a bunch of smart kids over there that work in the accounting department to figure out how to make all this stuff work. But it's so good for the fighters. And what I loved about being with one company that made such a big investment in us is they're all in with us. So the fighters are going to get tons of promotion, built by all these different unbelievable networks that these guys own. And, these are aggressive, smart guys that are going to build a big media company.
So they always love to tout the fact that the UFC is a major league sport, and certainly the rights fees would suggest that they are in the company of the other major leagues here in the United States. In those sports, it's like, hey, this deal has been struck, and as a result, the players are getting X amount because of the collective bargaining agreement, aka the CBA, that has been negotiated, blah, 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 blah. In our little sport, it's, we got some smart kids in accounting, and they'll figure it out. And if you're a UFC fighter, you're like, okay, cool. Dana gonna work it out.
That's fucking illegal.
Dana gonna work it out. That's pretty much what he's saying.
Can I ask you, Ariel? I think it's about like the figure people throw around. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's about 18%. They're saying the revenue share is for fighters and the
Something
UFC.
like that. Yeah.
If they just kept it the same with more revenue now on the table, wouldn't that mean an improvement for fighters anyway?
Yeah, look, I do think something's going to go up. It would just be nice if the fighters knew, and it would be nice if it was like, like some sort of mathematical breakdown where you knew exactly what it was. I don't think that's how it works. I think it's kind of like everyone, fend for yourself, and if you've got a deal that's coming up, it's not like if you're in the look, I'd love to be proven wrong, but if you're in the midst of an 8-fight deal and you've got 6 fight lights left, they're not going to just be like, hey, as a result of this, you're getting now X amount. You'll get a bigger bonus, clearly, but it's just kind of the Wild West.
Like every show, though. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people that misses. Like, it's not really covering everyone if you're throwing out 4 performance bonuses and there's 24 fighters on the card. You know what I mean?
The pay-per-view thing is going to be fascinating. It really is, because if I'm a top star, if I'm an Islam, a Drickus, a Tom, one of those names, and I know there's no like super duper star, even if Conor comes back and he fights on CBS, how do they offset that? It's going to be fascinating to see how that all plays out.
Also, he talks about how like his competition is obviously the NFL, the NBA, like being in these sports ranges.
Yeah.
We all want the fighters to get paid because there is nothing without the fighters. You want them to be taken care of. But also, if you pay the fighters better, this becomes a more desirable sport to kids, to people up and coming. And so it just makes the talent pool that much deeper down the line. It just feels like it would benefit everyone to just pay them better.
One last thought on all of this. The more I think about it, the more I think about our conversation with David Sampson yesterday, I really do think, and I look forward to seeing if there's more reporting on this, I really think that Donald Trump had a big part in all of this. I mean, like, there's just too much coincidence and too much happened in a short amount of time. From the settlement with CBS to the merger going through, to then this happening, and was this a byproduct of the settlement? Was this a part of the deal? Hey, you got to do a deal with these guys. Like, it just seems way too connected. You know what I mean?
Is Trump not also to thank for Hamzat Chimaev fighting in Chicago this weekend?
I mean,
well?
Hamzat said it himself, right? Essentially. Like,
So it wouldn't be shocking if he had
it's a
something to do
wild
with the deal.
thought, man. It's a wild thought. Dana's sitting up there talking about the White House shit. Like, it's wild.
He's
how
flying up
connected.
to meet with Trump and his daughter, I believe, at the end of
Yes.
the month.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's
So
crazy.
again, benefiting from timing. I talked about they benefited from timing and circumstance when they went from Spike to Fox because of the launch of FS1 and they needed a new shiny toy. They benefited from it all when they went from Fox to ESPN because Plus was launching. They needed a new shiny toy. They benefit from the fact that their guy is in the White House and this whole thing with CBS happens and the Skydance merger is getting roadblocked. Hey, settlement. Hey, approval. Hey, do a deal. The whole freaking thing. No one predicted it would all go to one place. No one predicted Paramount Plus. No one predicted $1 billion plus from one entity. It's just an amazing thing. The rich guys get richer. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up, leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.